Welcome to this edition of Collier Focus. On today's show, we'll take a look at the May 22nd Board of County Commissioners meeting. The Immokalee Master Plan will get a new vote in Immokalee. And we'll take a trip to the Depot Museum. I'm Troy Miller. We'll cover these stories and more next on Collier Focus. Stay tuned.
Whether reporting on the latest news stories or hot issues, taking a look at county government services, or announcing what's happening around the county, this is Collier Focus, bringing government home.
At the May 22nd Board of County Commissioners meeting, the board voted unanimously to hold a reconsideration hearing on the proposed Immokalee Master Plan amendment in Immokalee. The meeting will take place June 18th at 6 p.m. at the Immokalee High School. The plan requires a supermajority of 4 votes to pass. Immokalee is the agricultural hub of Southwest Florida. The board approved an ordinance amendment that pertains to the composition of membership on the Tourist Development Council. Tourism Director Jack Wirt explains the changes.
There are 9 members of the board. 3 are elected officials, 3 are collectors of the tourist development tax, and 3 are people in the tourism industry but don't collect the tax. So it's a pretty well balanced group of people, at least 6 of them involved in the tourism industry. The elected officials, 1 comes from the county commission, and then 1 municipal representative from the largest city in the county, that being Naples at the current time, and then 1 other municipality. The change that we made today was we had a stipulation in our local county ordinance that indicated that every 4 years the second municipal seat would rotate between the city of Marco Island and in Everglades City, and that rotation would continue if additional cities were added to the county in future years. There was a concern at the end of the Marco Island City Council representative on the TDC when his term was expiring. His concern was, and he brought it up to the TDC, that for the next 4 years, really the second largest city in the community was not going to have a representation on the Tourist Development Council for the people of Marco Island. So the discussion began at the TDC level. The recommendation was that we change the ordinance to more clearly mirror the state statute, which simply says, as I said before, 3 elected officials, 1 from the county commission and 2 from municipalities, 1 from the largest municipality. So that was the idea that we wanted to do. That was amended slightly, and the language that was adopted today indicates that Marco Island will have that second seat on the Tourist Development Council as an elected official. So you have an elected officials from the county, Naples, and Marco Island. What we need to do now is make some further structural changes to the TDC so that it is in conformity with the state statute.
The 9-member council was created in 1992 to make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners regarding uses for tourist development tax revenues. In a 4-to-1 vote, commissioners approved the conceptual plans for the FY 2013 and 2014 beach renourishment of Barefoot, Vanderbilt, Clam Pass, Park Shore, and Naples beaches, along with the FY 2012-2013 Marco South Beach Renourishment Structure Rebuild Plan. Coastal Zone Management Director Gary McAlpin explained why the project is needed.
Marco Island work will begin in this year, right after turtle season in November of this year, and be complete by the end of turtle season, which is May 1st of 13. So they've given us direction to move forward. What we have, they also ratified the selection of the engineering consultants for both projects, and now what we need to do is have the contracts approved by the Board of County Commissioners, and that will happen on June 26th of this year.
The beach renourishment plan had been previously voted on by the board but had been brought back for reconsideration. The board voted to authorize the county attorney to engage outside counsel for representation in the multi-district litigation related to damages incurred as a result of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill.
What we're trying to do is get some outside legal counsel help to see if we can collect some of the dollars that we have applied for. It's a combination of lost tourist development council or tourist development tax dollars, and secondly, the extraordinary marketing dollars we pulled out of our emergency advertising reserves to try to overcome the terrible misinformation where oil was and where it wasn't. So we are looking at a claim of right at $400,000, a combination of lost tourist tax revenue and marketing dollars. To date, we have gotten no dollars at all from BP and have been turned down on the marketing dollars completely by BP. So we feel that at this point we're kind of at a stalemate. I've worked as hard as I can as an individual here to get it done. We think outside counsel can help us. And we have a number of other counties within Florida that have joined in with the same tactic to bring outside counsel and pressure to bear to see if we can recover these funds.
The oil spill began on April 20th, 2010 after an explosion on Deepwater Horizon. The explosion killed 11 men working on the platform and injured 17 others. The leak was capped 3 months later. The disaster is widely blamed for a downturn in summer tourism business that year. The board recognized the water department for their excellent tasting water. The Collier County Water Department produces the best tasting water in the state. So said a panel at the 2012 Florida Water Resources Conference in Orlando. Collier County's drinking water was chosen from among 12 samples submitted by water utilities across the state that had won regional best tasting drinking water contest held by the Florida section of the American Water Works Association, 12's regions.
This is really exciting for Collier County. This is really probably once in the history of a utility kind of event to be selected. There were approximately 170 utilities that entered this on a regional level. There were 12 utilities that made it to the state final, and we were narrowed down, although we didn't know it because it's a blind taste test. We were narrowed down to the 4 final, and unanimously the selection panel, the panel of judges, selected Collier County water as the best tasting water in Florida. And for a year, we've got the bragging rights. We have the best tasting drinking water in the state of Florida.
Collier County gets to keep the trophy for the year and will compete for the best tasting water nationally in June. Good luck, fellas. The commissioners took 2 steps to honor emergency medical services personnel. First, there was a proclamation designating the week of May 20th as EMS Week in Collier County. The proclamation honors all of those dedicated men and women who serve the public as EMS paramedics. Later, the board recognized EMS personnel, firefighters, law enforcement officers, and other first responders with Phoenix Awards. The award is bestowed on those who have successfully resuscitated someone whose heart has stopped beating. The phoenix is a mythological bird who died and then rose again from its own ashes. We want to congratulate all of those lifesavers on receiving their Phoenix Awards. The emergency medical service personnel also recently went through some new training aimed at the upcoming high school football season. The training focused on head, neck, and spinal injuries and how those patients would be stabilized for transport. EMS Interim Chief Walter Kopka explains that it is the athletic gear and the size of the patients that is most challenging.
These kids are getting bigger and stronger, they're hitting harder, and the potential there for serious injuries or even life-threatening problems is there. So when these injuries do occur, we want to make sure we immobilize them, keep them still so we don't make any of these injuries worse.
EMS personnel are stationed at every football game, and additionally, all athletic trainers have also received this training, which was developed in cooperation with athletic trainers nationwide. Collier County government has several spectacular museums to help pass on the tradition of the Naples area. We took our Collier Focus cameras to the Naples Depot Museum to explore the history of transportation in Collier County.
Built in 1927 by the Seaboard Airline Railway, the Naples Depot is Collier County's newest historical museum. Closed during World War II, where it served as home for USO shows for the local Army Air Base. The depot reopened in 1952 and brought passengers and freight to the Naples area until finally closing in 1971. The Naples Depot Museum explains how generations of Southwest Floridians used technology and transportation to open up Collier County. As you step into the waiting area, you are transported back in time. The signboard, benches, and floors are all original. Photos of a time gone by are prominent throughout. The former depot features much more than just trains.
We start with the railroads, we go to the native transportation, then pioneer transportation, which you see right behind me, and then we move on to the wheeled vehicles and the motorized transportation in the back of the museum.
The new railroad helped to put Naples on the map.
The Orange Blossom Special arrived January 7th, 1927, and the building wasn't complete yet. There were actually more people on the train than lived in Naples at the time.
The museum features an exceptional collection of train replicas.
The Orange Blossom Special, of course, is very famous train. The Doodlebug is what serviced this station the most. Now that was for more like local traffic, basically from between Fort Myers and Naples that ran. And it ran with, the Doodlebug is basically an engine that has been converted from a baggage car. And they just add an engine to it, the other half is baggage, and then they pull one passenger car behind it.
And you never have to worry about missing your train at the depot. The Orange Blossom Special makes a stop at the depot every 7 minutes. Beyond the train exhibits, Native American transportation in the form of canoes and walking trails are featured. During pioneer times, boats played a critical role in keeping Naples in touch with the outer world.
The reason that the boats were used so much, it was just a really tough drive or trip from Naples to Fort Myers over land. If you had a car, you might have several flats along the way. It was just a long, arduous journey. A trip to Fort Myers was an all-day affair to go up there and come back.
The museum features a 1922 Model T Ford hack, just like the one that took folks from the depot to their hotel, a 55 Chevy, an early swamp buggy racer, and a World War II aircraft engine.
The aircraft engine is off of the T6 trainer that operated here out of the Naples Army Airfield during World War II. And that is just something that hopefully will grab people's attention and make them want to look and read about the military history here in Naples when the airfield was an Army airfield.
The Bradley Gallery features revolving exhibits that include everything from history to photography to art. The museum also features a few pleasant surprises once you step outside.
We have 3 train cars outside. One is a 1947 Bud Tavern car. It would have been the last car on the train. It would be an observation car. If you went into the back part of the train, it's windows all around the train, and it's just small little chairs and tables to sit and have a drink. The next car, the green one, is a baggage car, and the other one is a red caboose. It's a 1909 Sioux Line caboose, but cabooses were sold back and forth between railroads, so it actually ended up as an Atlantic Coastline caboose.
The Naples Depot is also the current home of the LIONEL Train Museum of Naples. Inside you can see one of the best interactive train model displays anywhere. Not only can you look at trains, you can also take a ride on a miniature train that circles around the entire museum. The LIONEL Train Museum is open on Saturdays. The Naples Depot Museum is open Monday through Saturday. Bill Fassold for Collier Focus.
That's all we have time for on this edition of Collier Focus. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.